While watching the new moon sighting, it felt like a good enlightening. This day is so bright as the first Tarawih is tonight. With family around a nice meal, we're making dua and I feel how nice it is to be so near to those I love.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على عبده ورسوله نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. And welcome to this new episode of Virtues of Fasting. We're still studying the book of Bulugh al-Maram, and to be specific, the chapter that deals with fasting. Hadith number 7 in this chapter, and it is narrated by the mother of the believers, Hafsa, may Allah be pleased with her. She says that the Prophet ﷺ said, whoever does not form his intention to fast before to Fajr, his fasting will not be accepted. And in another narration, also reported by Dar al-Qutni, the Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, no fasting is accepted for one who does not form the intention to fast the night before. The following hadith, I think it is best that we also read it, hadith number 8, so that we could have an idea when we talk and explain the issues related to this. Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, said, one day the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam entered my house and said, is there anything here to eat? Aisha said, no. He said, I shall then be fasting today. Then he came to us another day, and we said to him, someone has offered us some hais as a gift. He then said, show it to me. I had been fasting since this morning, and he ate from it, as it was a voluntary fast and not during obligatory fasting of Ramadan. And this was narrated or reported by Imam Muslim in his Sahih. So now we have two hadiths, and the Prophet ﷺ is highlighting to us in the first hadith of Hafsa, and we all know that Hafsa is the daughter of Umar ibn al-Khattab, may Allah be pleased with them both. So the Prophet ﷺ is highlighting the issue of intention. So he says that whoever does not have the intention to fast before Fajr, that is during the night time, then his fasting would not be accepted and he would not be considered to be fasting. And also in the hadith of Dar al-Qutni, there is no fasting except for those who obligated from the night time. So first of all, what is the intention mentioned in the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ? In Islam, intention has two meanings. One is to differentiate between forms of worship. So a worshipper could be praying 2 rak'ahs. What is his intention? He might be praying a voluntary prayer. He might be praying Fajr prayer. He might be praying istikhara. He might be praying any type of prayer. And what differentiates between these different prayers? The intention. A person praying 4 rak'ahs. What is his intention? If he says Dhuhr, okay, this is valid. If it says Asr, if it's at the time of Asr, it's valid. But if it's time of Dhuhr, then it is not valid. So to differentiate between forms of worship, this is the first usage and the first meaning of intention. The second meaning is, who are you intending this form of worship for? So if I pray Dhuhr prayer in congregation, what is my intention? One would say, my intention is to pray to Allah. In this case, your intention is sincere. The other says, I don't pray usually, but my boss is praying out of the ordinary, so I'm showing off so that he may give me a bonus or a raise. And then this intention is invalid and he will be punished for that. So the Prophet ﷺ, as taught to us before by him, that all our deeds, they are dependent on our intention. إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ. Verily that deeds are held accountable or are dependent on your intention. Therefore, the Prophet says in the first hadith of Hafsa that he who does not form the intention before Fajr, while it is night time, then he has no fasting valid for him. And this again is falling under the general category that deeds are by their intentions. And there's a fiqhi rule, al-umuru bimaqasidiha. All things are by their intentions. So this falls and fits like a glove. However, this is only directed at fasting that is obligatory. And we know that there are fastings that are obligatory and there are fastings that are not. So among the fastings that are obligatory, the fasting of Ramadan, this is a must. So if you do not make the intention from night to fast tomorrow, the day of Ramadan, your fasting is invalid. Making up for Ramadan. If I missed a day in Ramadan and then after a few months I had the chance to make it up, but I went to bed without having any intention and woke up in the morning, maybe 5 minutes after the Adhan of Fajr, and I said, oops, let me consider this to be part of making up of the day missed in Ramadan. This is invalid because you have to have the intention before the Adhan of Fajr. One who has an oath or a vow. So I say, if Allah cures my child, I'm going to fast a day for his sake. So this is mandatory. I have to have the intention for that day before the call of Fajr. One who has expiations. For example, he said, Wallahi, I will not come to your house tomorrow. And I changed my mind. I have to feed 10 people, clothe them, or free a slave. And if I'm unable to do any of the previous 3, then I have to fast 3 days. So these 3 days, I must keep the intention at night time. Now, the Prophet says, alayhi salatu wasalam, whoever does not form the intention before Fajr, that is, at night time. And we know that we have 2 types of Fajr. One is known as the false Fajr, and the other one is known as the true Fajr. The false Fajr usually comes before the true and actual break of dawn by 40 minutes, maybe to an hour, depending on the region and the seasons. And it comes like a vertical light that disappears after a while, and the total darkness follows. And then about 40 minutes later, you get the true dawn. You get the actual break of dawn, which is horizontal. So you see it all over the horizon, unlike that one where you only detect it in one place and it is vertical. So the Prophet is referring, alayhi salatu, to the true dawn. And this true dawn is the one, once it breaks, you have to stop and refrain from eating and drinking if you're fasting. It initiates that you can pray Fajr prayer now. This is the time for praying Fajr. Before it, you could not pray it, etc. So the Prophet is telling us, alayhi salatu, who does not form the intention before Fajr, then there is no fasting for him. فَلَا صِيَامَ لَهُ. La is an article of negation. No. So when I say I have no money, I have no interest. This is, I'm negating it. I'm saying that this does not exist, or I don't have it, etc. And in Arabic, when you look at the verses of the Quran, if you look at the hadiths of the Prophet ﷺ, you see that this negation article, la, is used in a number of different ways. And if you don't have knowledge, you get things mixed up. You mix apples with oranges, and then you don't know what to do. There is a negation for existence. So when I say that there are no two gods, I'm negating it. They do not exist. When I say La ilaha, there is no God. Illallah, worthy of being worshipped except Allah. So when I say La, this means that there is no existence. The second type of negation would be for the validity. So when the Prophet says, alayhi salatu wasalam, La salata liman la wudu'a lah, there is no prayer valid to a person who has no wudu, no ablution. This la here doesn't mean it doesn't exist. It exists because he's praying. I can see he's praying. It means that it is not valid. So though it exists, but it is not valid, meaning that it does not exist Islamically. And the third type of negation is for perfection. And this is similar to when the Prophet says, alayhi salatu wasalam, La imana liman la amanata lah. There is no belief to someone who is not trustworthy. La yu'min. He does not become a believer. Man la ya'manu jaruhu bawa'iqah. Whose neighbor is not in safety from his harm. So when the Prophet says that he is not a believer, does he mean that he's a kafir? The answer is no, definitely, because he is a Muslim. But it means that he is not a perfect Muslim, because we know that there are 60 plus, in another narration, 70 plus of branches of Iman. The highest is La ilaha illallah. The lowest is removing harmful things from people's way, and bashfulness. Al-haya is a branch of Iman. So we know that he is he's a believer, but he's not a perfect and complete believer. He has lots of things missing. So when the Prophet says, alayhi salatu wasalam, فَلَا صَيَامَ لَهْ أو فَلَا صَوْمَ لَهْ, that whoever does not form the intention before Fajr, then he has no fasting. Does it mean existence? No, because he refrained from food and drink until sunset. Does it mean perfection? The answer is no, because it is not valid to begin with. So it definitely means the validity. And the hadith straightforward tells us that the fasting of this obligatory day is not valid if you do not form the intention before Fajr time. Now, is there anything else that falls under the same category alongside with obligatory fastings? The answer is yes. Scholars say that limited or restricted voluntary fasts must take the same ruling. Can you give an example? I will. 6 days of Shawwal. These are specific. The Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, whoever fasts Ramadan, the whole of it, 29 or 30 days complete, and follows this with 6 days of Shawwal, he fasts 6 days of the following month, then Allah Azza wa Jal would grant him the reward as if he fasted the whole year. If someone woke up on the second day of Shawwal after Eid, and 10 minutes after Adhan of Fajr, he did not have a prior intention to fast, and then he woke up and said, listen, I will consider this to be one of the days of Shawwal. What do we say to him? We say to him that your fasting is valid, but it doesn't count from the days of Shawwal. Why? Because the Prophet ﷺ indicated that you have to fast the whole day, and your intention came 10 minutes late. Likewise with the day of Arafah, with the day of Ashura. If you do not intend it before Fajr, then your fasting would not be considered to be part of Arafah or of Ashura, as if it were an obligatory fasting. Now, having said that, how would we know the intention? Some people make the mistake of saying, I intend to fast tomorrow as the first day of Ramadan. We hear this in masjids. People, after the Imam starts his prayer, they do this and say, I intend to pray Dhuhr prayer for rak'ah on time, not qada, and the Imam's name is so-and-so, time is 13, so-and-so, date is, today is Tuesday or Wednesday or whatever. What are you doing? This is a manifest. You're not boarding a plane and you have to check the passengers' names. What are you doing? He said, no, this is intention. And this is wrong, totally wrong. Intention is something that is in the heart. So someone puts a plate of fruit in front of me, and I see some nice, beautiful, fresh strawberries, and I reach out to take them. What am I doing? I'm going to eat strawberries. Did you intend it? Yes. What did you say? Nothing. I simply ate it. This is my intention. When I want to go to the toilet to make a 101 or 102, whatever, and do I, before going to the toilet, say, I intend to go to the toilet and do this or that? Definitely not. Likewise, when you intend to pray Dhuhr, and you say, I intend to pray Dhuhr, who are you talking to? He says, I'm informing Allah Azza wa Jal. Astaghfirullah. Allah knows everything. Why do you inform Him? He says, I didn't think of that. Oh, okay, I'm informing myself. Are you crazy? You need to talk to yourself to know what you're doing. You simply intend and do it. So the intention for fasting is unlike what people think. Today is Wednesday, tomorrow is Thursday, I intend to fast tomorrow. This is wrong. You simply have your pre-dawn meal. Your suhoor is sufficient. And after Isha, you know that tomorrow is the 5th of Ramadan, and you know that you're fasting, so you do not need to make an intention for that. Now, this brings us to another issue, and that is, do we need an intention, as the hadith of Hafsa states, for every day of Ramadan, because every single day of Ramadan is mandatory to us to fast it. So do we have to renew the intention? It's an issue of dispute. The most authentic opinion is that you only need the intention for the first day. And afterwards, as long as your fasting is continued, then you do not need an intention for every single day. So from the very beginning, the first night of Sha'ban, which is the first night of, that is, Ramadan, before the first day, I make the intention, after sighting the moon, I'm going to fast the whole month. And that is it. So even if I fast the first day, and then after Maghrib, I fall asleep and wake up only after Fajr, because I was tired. Now, no one says, because you woke up after Fajr, this day doesn't count. You should have had the intention last night. No, the whole month is connected. But only if you separate it and you break the fast of one day or more. In this case, you have to renew your intention. Example, first 7 days I fasted, intention was on the first day of Ramadan. The 8th day I got a flight and I had to travel. So I broke my fast. And I came the following day. And I went to bed. Now, I did not intend to fast tomorrow. I did not have the intention because I was breaking my fast for a day or two, or etc. This day, the following day doesn't count because the intention was not there. But if I intended it before going to bed or before the adhan of Fajr to continue my fasting, then this is valid, inshaAllah. Now, the hadith of Aisha is a beautiful hadith, and I hope we have time to go through some of the benefits in it. Aisha says that the Prophet ﷺ, and this was his routine, he goes out to the masjid and he comes back and he asks, is there any food? Do you have anything to eat? And this shows you how diplomatic and polite our Prophet is ﷺ. He does not say to his wife, bring me food. Why not? Because he doesn't want to embarrass his wife. Maybe the food is not ready. Maybe they don't have any food. So when he demands food, this will break her heart when she says, we don't have anything, O Prophet of Allah. Or I didn't prepare anything, O Prophet of Allah. So the Prophet ﷺ first asks, do you have any food? If she said yes, then he would continue to demand or ask. But because she said no, in this case, the Prophet ﷺ takes another decision. So as in the hadith, it states that the Prophet asks ﷺ, do you have any food? And she says no. So the Prophet says ﷺ, in this case, I'm fasting today. Now, is this an obligatory fast? The answer is definitely not. This is not an obligatory fast. This is a voluntary fast. And is there any specific time for me to begin a voluntary fast? The answer is no. No time at all? No time. So if someone goes to bed before Fajr and he was totally beaten and he sleeps until 10 minutes before Maghrib time, and he wakes up and he says, wow, 10 minutes to Maghrib, I didn't have any breakfast, I didn't drink anything. Tell you what, I'll consider this to be a day of fasting. And he fasts these 10 minutes. Is it valid? The answer is yes, it's valid. However, 10 minutes are valid for his fasting because he cannot be in the same boat with someone who intended to fast from the early hours of the morning. So the reward is in accordance to the suffering. And the person who fasts 10 days did not suffer at all. So this is valid and this is permissible. In another incident, the Prophet came ﷺ and said, do you have any food? Well, actually, he didn't ask. Mother Aisha gave him the glad tidings the minute he came in. And she said that we had been given a gift that is hais. And hais is made of ghee, of flour, and of dates. And it's very nutritious, very nice to eat. And it gives you lots and lots of energy when it's winter time. So the Prophet said, ﷺ, show it to me, bring it over. And when the Prophet saw it, ﷺ, he ate from it and said to her that I was fasting, but now I had broken my fast and ate. And again, this fasting definitely was voluntary fasting. So from this hadith, we learn a number of issues. One of them, the simplicity of the Prophet ﷺ. The Prophet doesn't know what's in his house. So he's very simple. He talks to his wife in a very simple manner. He's not demanding, do you have anything to eat? If they said yes, alhamdulillah, he eats. If they said no, alhamdulillah, he fasts. Some of us are so nagging and demanding. Why is the food not salty enough? Or why is there a lot of salt? It's not well cooked. It's this, it's that. Why the house is not clean? Why the kids are not well dressed? This is not the behavior and etiquette of our Prophet ﷺ with his family. Also, the Prophet ﷺ does not know the unseen as so many ignorant, deviant sects believe. The Prophet doesn't know the unseen. Otherwise, he would not ask, do you have anything to eat? Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And compare this to those who say that the Prophet is Hazir Nazir, meaning that he is a traveler round the globe and he sees everything and he hears everything and he's present whenever he is. What did they leave to Allah Azza wa Jal? May Allah Azza wa Jal be exalted. They are definitely insulting our Prophet ﷺ when they compare him to Allah and give him something that Allah did not give him. Also, the Prophet accepts gifts ﷺ, and this is the characteristic of a Muslim. Someone gives you a gift, not a bribe, a gift, you take it, accept it, no matter what it is. Someone gives you a pen, say, why? This is not Mont Blanc, man, I'm not going to take it. This is 1 riyal, 2 riyals. No, accept any gift that comes to you, because this shows good character, as the Prophet ﷺ used to do. And also, it tells us and shows us that the Prophet ﷺ utilizes the circumstances. If there's no food to eat, what is the best thing to do? Well, consider this to be a fasting day. So if you're not going to eat both ways, might as well make it for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jal and hit two birds with one stone. And we know that the Prophet ﷺ, had he wanted to be among the richest people on earth, he could have, but he didn't. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and his family and his wives. Mother Aisha says that we used to have like 2 months without lighting fire in the house of the Prophet ﷺ to cook on. And the majority of our food was water and dates, and that is it. Compare this to our lunch and brunch and dinner and supper and what comes fillers in between. So the Prophet ﷺ's life was simple. Had he wanted to be the richest person on earth, he could have, but he did not. And finally, it is okay, it is permissible for you to, as it is, to initiate a voluntary day of fasting, providing that you did not have anything after the Adhan of Fajr that nullifies fasting. You can also void your fasting if it's voluntary. So if I fast 5-6 hours, it's midday, and then someone serves me something and gives me food. Wow, this is good. I'm gonna eat. But you're fasting. Yeah, this is voluntary fast. I'm the prince, I'm the ruler of my own. So I can void and cut and break my fasting, voluntary fasting, whenever I want. And this goes with most, if not all, voluntary deeds and acts. This is the end of the first segment of today's program. Stay tuned, and inshallah, we'll be right back to take your calls. Assalamu alaikum and welcome back. Juji has a question. He or she says, can we rebel against democratic system and democratic politicians? Now, the issue of rebellions and things that are taking place nowadays need an extended talk and elaboration. But we have Idris from Nigeria, and I'll get to Juji's question, inshallah. Idris from Nigeria.
Hello, Sheikh. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Thank you. I have 2 questions to ask, please.
Yes.
Number 1 question is, you said it is not necessary to say your niyyah. You want to make any prayer because it is in your heart. But most people, we normally do niyyah before any salat. So we Maghrib, Isha, all different daily prayers. Then my number 2 question is, we have problem in Nigeria, which I'm very sure you're aware of the Boko Haram. Please, can you tell us what is the consequences of any man who kill a fellow human being without any reason? Thank you, Mama.
You're welcome, Akhi. We have Toba from Saudi.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Salam tullah.
I have 3 questions.
Okay.
First one is on the behalf of my parents. If a person did not wear ihram on the niqab out of ignorance, then what is the ruling on it?
Okay.
Second one, how to do sajda shukr. Third one, should women wear hijab and in wudu while doing sajda shukr and sajda tilawat?
Okay.
Thank you, Sheikh.
You're welcome. Okay, So should we begin with Juji or will we begin with Idris? Well, let me begin with Juji, and please hold the lines for 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 minutes, who cares? First of all, the issue of rebelling against the government. Now, is this part of Islam? What we see, people are dying just to form what is known as Khilafah, even if it was made of Legos. They just want Khilafah. Is this part of Islam? Now we've heard this new Islamic State and calling people to come and give bay'ah. Any Tom, Dick or Harry could come and say, listen, tomorrow I just declare it and say, I'm the new Khalifa. And I ask people to come to give the Pledge of Allegiance to me. People in the UK, people in the US, people in Somalia, maybe the Shabab would have formed the Khilafah, maybe Boko Haram would call Khilafah. Is this part of Islam, or Islam is part of implementing the Quran and Sunnah? Some people neglect the prayer, the fasting, implementing of Sharia. They neglect the ethics, the moral conduct. They neglect their relationship between them and Allah Azza wa Jalla, and only focus on how to dominate, how to rule, how to kill, how to blow up things, etc. So is this part of Islam? Is this part of our religion? The answer is definitely not. This is not part of Islam. And rebelling was not something that the Prophet told us ﷺ to do. On the contrary, he says in regards to a person who's a Muslim, you have to obey and listen, even if an Abyssinian slave, his head is like a raisin, rules on you, you should obey him. He did not say a Khalifa from Quraysh, as now they are doing a lot of noise about. Oh, he's a Qurayshi, he's a Qurayshi, he's a Khalifa. Anyway, we have like 100,000 of them. So someone from Persia comes and says that he's a mullah or something and he wants to become Khalifa because he's a Qurashi, that's it? No, this is not the thing. This is out of context. Islam is not a rebellious religion that teaches people to rebel and to make conflicts and chaos and kill people. No. Islam is a deen, is a religion of peace, of da'wah, of tranquility. When jihad is needed, it is there, but it comes not as a product by itself. It's a byproduct of calling people to Islam and giving da'wah by following the Quran and the Sunnah under the flag of a Muslim leader, but to come and form what is known as an Islamic State, giving takfir to all Muslim rulers. Everybody is a kafir. And not that only, the governments are kafir as well. Their cabinets are kafir. The members of parliament are kafir, without any discrimination. And giving takfir to the army forces, to the police forces, and then you say that they're not khawarij. Come on, give me a break. Anyhow, we had someone from Somalia, but I do apologize because I have to make this in points rather than segregate the answer every now and then. Brother Idris, he's saying that people here, we have Muhammad.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Salam wa barakatuh.
Sheikh, I had a question on Taraweeh.
Off?
On Taraweeh. Taraweeh prayers.
Taraweeh, okay.
Taraweeh.
Okay.
Taraweeh,
Yes.
I asked earlier on Ask Khuda that, and I understand that we can pray 8 rakat or 20 rakat. Both
Okay.
are valid. Now, Sheikh Salah had advised once, if you want to pray 20 rakat, you can do so. You can, when the Imam prays witr, that is 1 rakat, I can get up after, as if Imam says Taslim, I can get up and pray 2. And after that, I can complete the remaining and make my 20 rakat. Now, my question is that in my masjid here, my Imam prays Dua al-Qunut in every witr prayer. And as he is praying the witr, I am also saying Ameen along with him. And after that witr, if I get up, so will it be considered as my witr or will it be considered as a Taraweeh, Salatul Taraweeh on me? My next question is, should I complete the remaining part of my 20 rakat in the masjid, or can I come back home and complete it? And when I pray my witr, can I pray Dua Qunut again, or should I not? What is it?
Okay,
Can
I
you
will
please
answer.
advise?
I will
Thanks
answer
so much.
inshallah.
Thanks so much.
You're welcome, Akhi. So Idris says that the people usually say the niyyah for Maghrib, for Isha, where he comes from. Probably they are following the Shafi'i madhab, and this goes against the majority of scholars of schools of thought. And the easiest thing to counter answer this is that the Prophet ﷺ never done such a thing, nor his companions. None of them ever uttered or said the niyyah, or even told us that he said it in his heart. So you may not move your lips, but you can still repeat the niyyah in your heart by saying, oh, you intend to pray Maghrib prayer, but you don't move your lips. Again, this is wrong. The Prophet never done this, had done this, nor his companions. So you should not do it either. Shams from Saudi.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Sheikh, I have a question, actually two questions.
Okay.
The other day I heard you were talking about Druze. I live in Saudi City and my neighbor is a Druze. Would it be impolite to not answer his salam?
Okay.
And me just turning over? Would I be a bad neighbor or something like that? And my second question is also related to one of your questions yesterday. Like, my daughter is of age and she is living in Canada. And as a parent, I think it's my responsibility to ensure that she settles down. But most of the suitors are like they smoke or drink, and we have to keep saying no to that. And I do get frustrated sometimes, but she tells me to trust in Allah and inshallah, Mom, when the time comes. So should I just let it go and just,
Okay.
Yeah.
I will answer inshallah.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Iman from Saudi.
Assalamu alaikum.
Salam to Allah.
Yes, my question is about making up for the fast of Ramadan. But as soon as Ramadan is over and we have the Shawwal, and what if we intend to fast for the 6 days of Shawwal first, and then we make up for the missing or the mandatory fast of Ramadan, and the following, like Ashura or Yawm al-Arafah and so like that. So are we supposed to make up for the mandatory fast first, or we can fast the voluntary ones first? And what about the intention of for the white days and the Mondays or Thursdays? If we have to fast on Mondays or Thursdays, then are we, like, if we wake up after Fajr, can we just make the niyyah that we have to fast for that day or not?
Okay.
And second question is about like, if a child is 7 years or 8 years, then is it okay for the parents to teach them Salah and just tell them to offer the first, and then make them habitual of offering the Sunnah?
Okay.
All right, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Saeed from Saudi.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Salam wa rahmatullah.
Ramzan Mubarak, Sheikh.
Yeah, to you as well. Jazakallah khair.
Sheikh, I want to ask two questions. The first one is about the Sunnah prayers, what we were discussing 2 days back about 12 rakats prayer. Before Zohar, we have to pray 4 rakats Sunnah. That is 4 rakats together or 2 rakats separate, Sheikh?
Okay.
And does Tahiyatul Masjid is included in Sunnah, or that comes voluntary prayer?
طيب.
And my second question is,
Okay.
5 years back, my mother died. She was admitted during the Ramadan in the hospital for 6 months almost. She cannot able to recover from the illness. So she couldn't able to make up the fast. So I have to pay any fidya for that one or anything like that.
Okay. I will answer your question.
Thank
inshallah.
you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Safiya from the Emirates.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Salam to Allah.
I would like to ask one question.
Yes.
If a woman has missed her first fast from the previous Ramadan and has not made up for them before the following Ramadan, then what is the Islamic ruling on it?
Okay.
And how can she make up for the missed fast? Is she liable to pay for kafara, or can she still fast and make up for the missed fast?
Okay. I will answer this
Thank you.
question. You're welcome. Okay, I think we will take a short break from picking up calls. So bear with me, inshallah, in 4 minutes time, I'll try to answer your questions. Idris asking about Boko Haram. What's the ruling on Boko Haram? Boko Haram, as we hear from the news, is a terrorist organization. No matter what they claim, what they say, let us analyze, okay, I might be a terrorist. There's a possibility. Analyze what I say. You can quote me on that. But when you look at what's happening, the kidnapping of 200 schoolgirls, the blowing up of churches, the killing of innocent people, suicide bombings, cars, etc., atrocities, this is not part of Islam. Whether you call it Boko Haram, you call it Boko Halal, you call it Islamic State, you call it ISIS, they call it now. ISIS like iPhone or so whatever. This is not part of Islam. You hate Mujahideen? On the contrary, we are full-fledged supporting the Mujahideen who follow the Quran and Sunnah, who do not do things that tarnish our reputation as Muslims. So to defend yourself, to defend the vulnerable and the poor people, yes, this is legitimate. But to do things like this, blowing up churches, killing innocent people, yeah, but they're Christians. Even if they're Christians, even if they're Jews, innocent people you're not allowed to kill. And it is not to any Tom, Dick, or Harry just to come and pick up arms and kill whoever is not a Muslim. This is out of the question. So this is what I see about them, and probably this means that I'm not going to go to Nigeria soon. Tauba from Saudi Arabia says, Jazakallah khair, Jazahallahu khairan, and she's asking 3 questions on behalf of her parents. What's the penalty for making ihram not from the miqat? You have to slaughter a sheep in the haram area, in the Mecca area, and distribute it to the poor people there. Sajdat al-shukr. What is the format, how to do it, and do we need to be in the state of wudu? No. Sajdat al-shukr, sajdat al-tilawa, the recitation, prostration. These 2 prostrations are not prayers, and that is why they do not require wudu. Wudu is required for prayer, and they do not require covering your awrah. So if you're a woman, you don't need to wear the hijab to do it. And they do not require facing the qibla, because facing the qibla is for an obligatory prayer. Therefore, it can be done. How to do it? You just say Allahu Akbar and you fall and prostrate, and that is it. When you raise your head, you don't say Allahu Akbar again, and you don't offer salam, because this is not a prayer. Muhammad from the UAE, he's asking a question about Taraweeh. He says that he usually prays 20 rak'ahs for Taraweeh, but the Imam next to his house prays 11 rak'ahs, that is 8 plus 3 witr. So what should he do? Akhi, if you pray with the Imam 11 rak'ahs, Allah would reward you as if you prayed the whole night. So this is sufficient for you. You don't need to add anything to it. But if you do, if you want, there's no problem. And you have 2 choices: either to offer witr with the Imam and offer salam and leave to your home, and then pray 2 rak'ahs, 2 rak'ahs, 2 rak'ahs until you finish the 23 rak'ahs. Already you've prayed 11, so you have 12 missing. So you're gonna pray 6 prayers of 2 units each. And do not repeat the witr, because the Prophet said, ﷺ, there are no 2 witrs in a night, only 1. The second option is that when the Imam offers salam from the witr, you stand up and you pray another rak'ah, which makes his witr 2 for you, and then you can pray witr home. Saying Ameen behind the Imam in qunut does not mean that you cannot make another qunut in your home. This has nothing to do with that, inshallah. Okay, Shams from Saudi Arabia, she has a neighbor who is a Durzi, and she says, wouldn't that be inappropriate not to return the salam? On the contrary, this is an Islamic thing. If a Christian or a Jew comes and says, Assalamu alaikum, I would say, Wa alaikum. If I come to the office or I meet a Christian, I say, what's happening? How are you? Hi, good evening, good morning. But I would never say Assalamu alaikum, because this is prohibited for me to begin a non-Muslim with that. And the best thing, instead of being so careful not to offend your neighbor, is to give him da'wah or to give her da'wah. So you call her to Islam. Tell her, you're a Muslim? She says, yes. Okay, do you believe in the Quran? She says, yes. Then show her the verses that deals with praying. Why don't you pray? Why don't you fast? Why don't you give zakat? This is the sunnah where Allah tells us to follow the Prophet ﷺ. Why aren't you doing this? After that, if she, alhamdulillah, accepts and embraces what you say, you have gained a lot of reward with the grace of Allah Azza wa Jal. But if she doesn't, then you don't have anything to do with her. She says, Shams, that a lot of suitors come to her daughter, and some of them smoke, some of them listen to music and watch movies, some of them are not practicing or don't pray on time. So what should she do? Wallah, you have all the right either to throw your daughter to hell or to keep her until a good suitor comes to her. How would you give your daughter to someone who was a playboy or is still probably having relationship with girls, or who smokes and he doesn't care about his health or the health of his family, or he doesn't pray on time? What kind of a Muslim is he? So you're willing to give your daughter just so that the people would say, you got your daughter married, and you throw her to such trash? No, this is not permissible for you as a mother. We have Sarhat from Saudi Arabia.
Hello, Assalamu alaikum.
Salamtullah. Yes,
Hello?
yes.
Yeah, Sheikh, I wanted to ask, what is the age for the children to be made compulsory to fast and for salat? Is it 7 or else?
Okay. And second question?
No, that's it.
Okay, I will answer inshallah. Wajazakum. Mahmoud from Saudi. Mahmoud from Saudi.
Assalamu alaikum.
Salam wa rahmatullah.
Sheikh, my question is about time in Ramadan.
Okay. What is about time? Yeah, Mahmoud. Okay, I think we've lost Mahmoud. Iman says that the question that comes every single year, lots and lots of time. And she says that women break their fast during the month of Ramadan due to their monthly cycle. So after Ramadan is over, they would like to begin with fasting 6 days of Shawwal and then make up for the missed days. Is this possible? Before we get the answer, Mahmoud from Somalia. Mahmoud from Somalia. Yeah, Mahmoud. Well, I don't hear anything. And I don't think he's on the line anymore. So what is the ruling on that? No, this is not permissible. It's an issue of dispute among scholars. Some scholars say that it is okay to fast the days missed of Ramadan after you do the 6 days of Shawwal. But the most authentic opinion that this is not permissible, because the reward, which is fasting the whole year, the Prophet ﷺ made a condition that you fast Ramadan and then you follow that with 6 days of Shawwal. So if someone fasted 27 days of Ramadan and has 3 days to make up, and started fasting 6 days of Shawwal, he does not fall under this category, and hence we cannot say that this is valid. Is it okay to make up the missed Ramadans on Ashura day or on Arafah? The answer is yes. You get both rewards for that, inshallah. What about the intention of the white days, Mondays and Thursdays? The same thing. If you intend for the white days before Fajr, it's valid. If not, then it is not accredited to you except part of that day, and it doesn't give you the same reward. Mondays and Thursdays is a little bit maybe lesser in degree. A 7-year-old child, do we teach him to pray Fard and Sunnah, or only the Fard? Well, it depends on the child. If he's enthusiastic for prayer and he wants to cooperate, then yes, give him the Fard and the Sunnah so that it becomes in his system. But if not, then don't burden the child. Let him learn first how to pray. When he's 10 years old, maybe then you can introduce this to him, inshallah. We have a caller and the time is running. Hussein from Iran. Okay. Hussein is gone. Saeed from Saudi Arabia says that the 4 rak'ah before Dhuhr, should they be with 1 salam, or should I separate them with 2 rak'ah salam, 2 rak'ah salam? Hanafi school of thought say that they are 4 rak'ahs in a row with 1 salam, and Sheikh Al-Albani authenticates a hadith saying that this is applicable. To be safe, and this is the majority's view, pray 2, offer salam, pray 2, offer salam, and no one would say that you had done something wrong. Is the Tahiyyatul Masjid part of the 12 rak'ahs? The answer is no. The 12 rak'ahs are specific and they are related to the daily prayers, while Tahiyyatul Masjid can be done anytime. And his mother died, may Allah have mercy on her soul and on all the souls of our loved ones and the Muslim deceased. And she could not make up for the missed days due to her illness, and she was bedridden. So should he pay kafara, fidya? Should he fast on her behalf? The answer is no. You should do neither, because she did not have the chance to make up. And this means that Allah would not hold her accountable. If she had the chance for a month or 2 and she, out of laziness, did not do it, in this case, it would have been a different story. Safiya from the Emirates says that those who delay and postpone making up of missed days of Ramadan for no apparent reason, and then Ramadan, the following Ramadan is due, and they could not fast or make up for the missed days. What is their punishment? They're sinful because they don't have a legitimate reason, but they're only ordered to make up for the missed days without any expiation. So a day for a day, whether you do it before Ramadan on time without any sin, or you are sinful and postponing it after the following Ramadan, you just make up for that day. Sarhan, I think, or Sarhat from Saudi Arabia, she says, what is the age, the appropriate age for instructing our children to fast and pray? As for prayer, the Prophet indicated, ﷺ, that instruct your children to pray when they're 7, spank them when they're 10. So the 3 years from 7 till 10, you do not force the child, in the sense that you do not spank the child, you do not reprimand the child, you just simply instruct. Come and pray, let's go and pray, wake up for prayer. And for 3 years, this is like conditioning the child to prayer. Now, fasting, we don't have a designated date or age. However, the companions used to say that we used to order our children to fast, and whenever they are hungry and thirsty, we give them toys made of wool. But they don't complete the full day. So most of us begin teaching their children how to fast when they're 6 or 7 or 8 years of age, and we are a little bit lenient in the sense that we do not force them to fast because it's not mandatory, but we train them as much as possible. Khansa says that she's not good in reading the Quran, hence she takes a lot of time to read it, and in Ramadan she doesn't know what is to look for best. Is it quality or quantity? So should she read Arabic Quran that would take a lot of time and consume a lot of effort without pondering upon the verses because she doesn't know Arabic? Or should she read it from the translation, which is not a Quran, it's a translation of the meaning of the Quran, but gives her an insight of what is meant and what she's ordered to do? The Quran was revealed to be pondered upon. However, the reward of reciting it is on the Arabic text. So if you can balance and combine both, you've got a win-win situation. So recite as much as possible from the Arabic Quran and try to ponder on the translation of the English or whatever language you're reading it from for like half an hour to an hour a day. And with this, you would gain the best reward, inshaAllah. Hashim's question that he will be traveling to Pakistan by the end of Ramadan, and he asks about the difference of days of fasting. So we started to fast here on Sunday in Saudi Arabia. In Pakistan, probably they started on Monday, so they are a day late. What happens if he started here in Saudi, and by the time he went to Pakistan and stayed there for a week or 2, they celebrated the Eid after Saudi by a day or two. Well, in a nutshell, if you as an individual began in one country and went to the other country, you should celebrate Eid with the second country you're in. And you should calculate the days that you've fasted. If it is 29 or more, then your month is complete. If it is less than 29, then you have to make up for the missed days. If it's 30, 31, you have no days to make up, and Allah Azza wa Jal knows best. This is all the time we have. Until we meet next time, fi amanillah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
While watching the new moon sighting, it felt like a good enlightening. This day is so bright as the first Tarawih is tonight. With family around a nice meal, we're making dua and I feel how nice it is to be so near to those I love. Whenever we think of Ramadan, all the good things that we need to do and plan, it's not always easy, but we'll do the best we can.